Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Everything Vaguely Paranormal. I am Shelley Pruitt, and these are my partners in the paranormal, Mr. Blake Smith and Mr. Ryan Roberts. How you guys
Hello.
tonight?
I'm good. I'm excited about this one.
I'm
Yeah,
excited too.
absolutely.
Anything that has to do with demons and exorcisms, and yeah, come on, bring it on. Let's do it.
and you guys, you are going to love talking to who we have this evening. We have got from Paranormal Investigations of Oklahoma. We have got Kale Epperson and Daniel Fogle. Not only are they paranormal investigators, they are also demonologists. I mean, like legit demonologists. And
Yeah.
they have participated in exorcisms. And they assist in performing exorcisms. Child, get out of here with that.
I'm like, look, I will go into any haunted, spooky building you want me to.
Do
But
not
you're
think
like,
for one second that I'm not going to ask if they've seen somebody levitate, because I will. You know I will.
Yeah.
So I am very excited. We were fortunate enough to get to meet them at Paracon.
Yeah,
And
they were
so-
awesome dudes. They were fun
I
to be
went
around.
fun. And Blake, I believe that you were given some holy water that I still
I
have yet to
was.
receive
I
my
still
portion.
have it right
Me
here.
neither.
Yeah, your
Still got
Bogart
it.
and the holy water. Well, without further ado, let's go, because they say they are reaching beyond the borders into the unknown. So let's bring on Kale Epperson and Daniel Fogle of Paranormal Investigations of Oklahoma. Hi, guys. Welcome.
What's up? Hey,
What's up?
So have y'all ever seen somebody levitate?
yeah, absolutely.
What?
Oh, really?
Oh, shit. Okay.
Shelly's just going for the meat of the matter already. Right off the bat,
I am.
I'm like,
So, guys, tell us a little bit about what you guys do. As do you usually go and work as a team, or do you do it individually, or what? How does this usually occur?
But usually the demonology part, I only send the members on my team that are ready to handle cases like that. I got several team members that are just not basically faith based, ready to deal with serious situations like that. Because when you're dealing with the demonic, you got to go in with no fear, and you have to take authority over whatever negative or evil into the house. And you can go on a regular ghost case and you may get an aggressive ghost or an upset spirit, but when you're dealing with demons, you're dealing with ancient evils, stuff from the Bible, stuff from entities from other religious beliefs, and this stuff is in your face and they don't back down, and it's usually a fight to try to get them out. So we're very picky about who we bring along on a demonic case.
they would not let me in. I'll just say that. Nope. Nope. They'd be
Well,
like, no,
how-
Blake can't go.
How can you guys tell the difference between just a really nasty spirit and something that is demonic?
There's usually signs of the demonic, and this is where the investigation part comes in, because most demonic cases kind of start off like a normal haunting. They may hear like disembodied voices, or they may pick up EVPs, stuff being moved around in the house. Then it slowly starts getting worse, or it may be something as simple as a lot of negativity in their life, and it just starts building and building and building until it starts manifesting. And then the signs start showing up as people getting attacked in the home, smells maybe of sulfur, brimstone, or rot. And it's usually a multitude of signs that start showing up. And of course, there's different levels when it comes to demonology, from maybe just an infestation, demons are just hanging around, or maybe an attachment. Uh, and the worst case scenario, there's like a full possession of a person, which is very, very rare, but it does happen.
That's what I was going to ask. How many times have you actually seen a full on possession of a person? And is that a case where you go, I'm going to step out and I'm going to bring in reinforcements, or do you actually, if you've seen it, have you ever tried to tackle it?
It wasn't too long ago. We did a full fledged exorcism on the person. Most people that we do exorcisms on, they're either attachments, or it's something that's making them sick or ill. So usually when you lay hands on them and pray for them, it doesn't take too long to get them off. Like, I can go onto a case and lay hands on somebody. The entity may just go right away, or it may take several hours for it to go. It may take several days, months, and sometimes years, or not at all. And when I mean not at all, we get to the point where we might have to make a truce. I hate to say a truce, but
Mm.
some type of truce with the entity to try to get it to calm down, because we don't know why God or whatever higher being is allowing this to happen. We did some you just can't get out.
That
Yeah.
sounds like you're actually making a deal with the devil to back off a little bit.
It's not really making a deal. It's more of, if you don't follow our instructions, it's going to be worse for you. And again,
Okay.
we don't know why this entity is there in the first place.
Mhm.
And it's kind of, you're diving deep into religious beliefs, either into Christianity or whatever. You may not know why that entity is there. And some just takes more prayer and more faith. So it may take time. I've heard of exorcism cases last years, and sometimes they just can't get rid of them. And lots based on the person that has the attachment to them. But most of the cases we go on, though, it may take a couple hours, and then we can get the entity to leave the home.
Do you ever run into a situation where you have gotten an entity to leave somebody alone and to leave a home, and someone kept inviting it back?
Yes, we had a case out of Frederick, Oklahoma,
What?
where this lady contacted several paranormal teams to come in to get rid of whatever's in her home. And then once that team would drive it out, she would invite it back in. And then she would holler out another paranormal team to come in. And the case kept getting worse and worse and worse. And we finally got called in to do a cleansing of the home. And we're doing the exorcism of the home. And the spirit literally yanked the holy water out of my hand and threw it across the room.
Oh, shit.
And the animals started puking. The family members started puking in the home. And we finally got rid of whatever it was. And it didn't take long after that she was trying to call us back. Oh, it's back again. But she was liking the attention. And then we were finding out, she kept asking us, like, are you guys going to bring a film crew in? Are you guys going to film us this time? Are we going to be on TV this time? And it was all, she loved the attention because she wanted to be on television.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. It's getting to the point where it's obvious she's dabbling into something.
Yeah.
And it gets to the point with some demonic cases, you just can't help people at all. And that used to concern me a lot because I do it to help people. And I was at a paranormal conference and I got to sit down with John Zaffis, and I was telling him about like some of these cases I've had. Like, I really want to help these people, but they're just keep inviting it back. And he just basically told me, like, well, you can't help everybody and you can't save the world. And you can
But
only
he didn't say it like that, because I heard John Zaffis likes to cuss a lot.
Ron's such a great guy.
He seems like he's awesome. I just
Oh yeah.
So he just basically told you you can't save everybody, and some people don't want to be.
Well,
frankly.
We just don't want to be saved, and it's your personal choice.
Yeah.
When it boils down to it, depending on your religious belief, if you're Christian, you can only save yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Well, see, we've even run into that, because we were just talking about this, about getting private residential calls to come in. Hey, we got something spooky coming on, and we want somebody to come check it out. Now, I will say we are the ones that where they start going, oh, it's a demon. We kind of 99% of the time it's probably not. It's either something masquerading as it, or it's just super aggressive or something like that. But we have kind of found those people already. We've made sure that we didn't get too tangled up into it. I don't even think we made an appearance at a couple of the houses that they just like that attention. And it just blows my mind that there are people out there that take it that far on the demonic side of it, that they're willing to invite it back over and over just to get attention from it.
How do you determine if it's actually some form of attachment? I'm sure that you do your due diligence to go, is this someone that has a mental health history? Is this someone that has a medication issue? Perhaps it isn't. Medication isn't right.
How do you know you have an attachment? I got my notes ready.
Yeah, me too.
We do interview people like any other normal ghost case.
Can you ask me a few questions? Interview me as you would, because I think I'm possessed after what I said on the pre-broadcast.
I think, a lot of it is just, we ask them a lot about when you're dealing with the paranormal, like most ghost teams, they're either scientific or they're mainly spiritual. We're a little bit of both. So when we're dealing with the demonic case, it goes more onto the spiritual side. So we'll start asking them questions of, how strong their religious belief is. Do they go to church, or what type of religious belief it is? Some of our research, we get to studying that they may be Christian, but they've been dabbling in some other religious belief, or
perhaps the occult of some form
yeah,
of the
like
occult.
they get into stuff that they're not supposed to, and we'll ask them questions about that. And sometimes it gets a little personal. We do sometimes bring psychics and mediums along on our cases that can kind of read people, and some of that kind of boils down to experience. When I'm asking questions to them, I'll be reading them at the same time. Some of the demonic attachments may be something like a sexual attachment, like an incubus or a succubus, which is still considered a low level demonic, but we can start asking questions and realizing that, these people have been abused in the past. And usually when you're dealing with incubus, succubuses or anything like that, they like to float through the family. If you have one child that was assaulted, whoever assaulted them was probably assaulted by a different family member. And it's like a parasite. It jumps from one person to the next. And we've dealt a lot with attachment hauntings like that.
It's almost like a generational haunting, a generational curse, almost, if you will.
Oh yeah, and most like cases that you learn about, like child assaults and stuff like that, you find out that the offender, sorry, my critter over here.
Child, I thought there was something coming up behind you, but I was going to wait and see what it was before I hollered at you. Sorry about that. I mean, it wasn't that I wasn't going to warn you. I was just going to see how big it was going to get before I said something.
But yeah, usually it seems like it goes from generation to generation to generation. And most criminal cases, when they study that stuff, they usually realize that, okay, the victim, whoever the offender was, the same thing happened to them. And then you find out the person that did it to them, more likely it happened to them, and it just kind of continues down the family line or to other people.
Ryan, I think you had a question you've been kind of holding on to. Did you already lose it?
No, I was going to say, so going back to, like you said, like someone invited the person inviting it back in, do you think that is part of the attachment that they have, or do you think like they were just attention seeking?
Most of the time it's attention seeking. When they keep calling it back. Sometimes we deal with cases though where we'll do an exorcism and the entity will try to come back even stronger just to test their faith, and then harass them all over again. And then, they'll call us back in again. And that's when the ministry part comes into it, where we're trying to build up their faith. And the hardest thing to convince people is that you have authority over demonic entities and evil things in your life. We have authority over that. Anybody that's been to church, what's the first thing they learn is to, tell the devil to go away, get behind me, Satan. That means that we have authority over principalities and evil forces. But the deal is when it's in your face, it's scary. Demonic entities feed off fear. They gain the energy. And demonic entities kind of have a job to do. Their job is to seek and destroy. And the only person, if you believe in hell, to damn yourself, it's you yourself, your free will that damns yourself. The demon cannot make you sin. They can tempt you and say, hey, Daniel, why don't you go over there and steal that over there? Well, if it's a low-level demonic entity, you're going to be like, I ain't going to do that. And you just kind of move on with your day. But some of these entities are even stronger. So when you're dealing like with legions, what I consider legions are nothing but a large group of low-level demons that group up together to do their attack. Now, usually when you have a legion, you usually have a stronger demonic entity that usually leads them. And those are usually what I call the ancient evils, or stuff you'll find in the Bible, or the greater and lesser keys of Solomon, or other religious beliefs. They're usually the generals that lead the attack. And we had a case in Geronimo, Oklahoma, where we had a high-level demonic entity, and we asked, well, how many how many demons are here, and it said 72, and that's
Whoa.
that's a
Damn.
lot.
You're going to need more demonologists.
Yeah, I think we dealt with that with two demonologists, myself and Reverend Holland Bell, who's on our team. He's our head clergy on our team.
Daniel,
So-
they didn't let you go to that one?
He wasn't part of the team at the time.
Yeah, I wasn't part of the team at the time.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So Daniel, how long have you been in with, let's say, this team and as well as the paranormal field, or demonology?
The demonology part, I'm pretty new to that. That's like maybe 5 months or so.
Okay.
So that's pretty new to me. So I'm still kind of running my course, going through that.
But you have already been present in an exorcism. I remember you telling me about
Yes.
that on the phone.
Yes.
We
So
threw him into the fire, literally.
pretty much, we had actually came back from an investigation. We were relaxing because that was a long drive. I get a call from him. We have to go do this exorcism, and I need you to be there. So it was a pretty serious deal. Probably the scariest thing that I've ever seen in my whole history of being in the paranormal. I've done this on a team. To answer your other part of your question, 5 years actually on an actual team. I started like my first dabble into the paranormal, I guess you could say. I went to like a public ghost hunt. I was like 20 years old, so like 17 years ago, aging myself. But went on like a public ghost hunt, started doing public ghost hunts, and a team actually reached out to me and found me off of like Facebook. So
Cool.
I worked with that team for a little bit. That team really didn't go anywhere, got shut down. Then joined up with another team. That team was pretty good for a little bit, and then it kind of fizzled out. And then here I am with PIL. And so I've been here for the last couple of years, at least on PIL.
And somewhere in that team jumping that you did, you and I met each other at a location.
Correct. We actually met in Fort Worth.
That's right.
I'd say maybe 2.5, 3 years ago.
About 3 years ago. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah. So I knowing what I know about Daniel, and guys, I've known Daniel for a little longer. Daniel is not one to get overly excited about something going on. He's very metered. He's very measured. Just because he hears it doesn't mean it's a ghost. He's going to go check it out. So whenever he tells you he was scared, that isn't something that would normally just come out of your mouth, right, Daniel?
Right.
You're going to kind of dig into it. And you say you were scared. So that was your first time ever doing this. And what was it that you saw that scared you?
Well, when it comes to demonic cases, the biggest thing that we would tell anybody also is don't be afraid, because they will feed off of that and they will come at you because you're scared. The whole thing that I saw at it was an actual exorcism of a person. Just the whole thing was like out of a horror movie. I mean, you watch the Conjuring movies, the cases for Ed and Lorraine Warren. You're like, oh yeah, they probably make it more than what it was for Hollywood for movies. This was like that, and it was not a movie.
Oof.
Nobody
Man.
nobody can tell me there is not a hell. I've seen it. That was it at that exorcism. I don't ever want to see it again. Honestly, not like that. It was bad. It was really scary. I mean, when you walk into someone's house, they're levitating off the floor. Their whole face transforms. This was a female. Their whole face transforms to where they look like a man.
Whoa.
Hands, feet look to me like what you would consider claws. I mean, it was a monster is what we saw.
Oh, Jesus.
So would you say that it was like almost transforming into something else, or that their hands were so gnarled that they resembled claws?
Probably that they were so gnarled that they resembled claws.
Okay.
Yeah, this individual, they were barefooted, so it was like, I guess the one of the best ways that I can explain it. Have you ever watched like a werewolf movie and saw the person transform to a werewolf? It was like that almost, is what it looked like to me.
Okay.
And
So,
we did-
guys, what were the steps that you took to help her, or were you able to help her?
yeah, that exorcism lasted at least 4 or 5 hours.
Yep.
And it was definitely rough. And we've done an exorcism on this person before, and they ended up getting an attachment
Wow.
from a haunted location. They were a paranormal investigator. They went to a case out of Texas and ended up getting an attachment from there. And we drove it off the first exorcism, but it really wasn't that bad. This time it was like 10 times worse. And usually, with cases like Daniel was telling you, when people get possessed, the entity is basically taking control of your body. Like her eyes were completely black. And when I mean completely black is because her pupils.
Child, your dog just scared the hell out of me. I was into listening to your story.
I was
did not
too.
expect
I
that.
mean, I ain't gonna lie, my heart skipped a beat there for just a second.
I thought the devil was coming
Hold
to
on
get
one
us.
second.
Woo. All right,
Okay, that just made me jump.
So you said that she got it out of a place in Texas. What did she say what she did exactly in order to have this happen?
I just have a question, or where?
You want to disclose where?
They may
I don't
want
want to
that might
Okay.
information.
Okay. That's fair enough. We understand. Yeah.
because I don't want to go there. Y'all message me, and I won't go to that location. Okay.
Sam, but like, do you know what she did in order at this location in order to get that attachment? Did she say?
I think at the location they used a Ouija board or something.
Well, I'll do it.
And that, and I think it was a board that probably wasn't closed properly before.
Well, if you need any more information on the Ouija board, you can go watch last week's episode over the Zozo Demon. So,
Guys, I have a question for you, and I've been trying to, get a little more informed about my exorcism information. And I was listening to a ordained, I guess it's a priest in the Catholic Church, was literally talking about exorcisms. He was doing a talk on them, and I found it on Facebook or YouTube or somewhere. And he said that one of the biggest things is that a demonic entity cannot take you over without your permission. And
Exactly.
I found that fascinating and compelling. So I thought, well, who the hell is going to say, yeah, it's fine? And he said, and in this talk, he kind of explained that, think of like a vampire. If you believe in vampires just can't enter your house. They have to be invited in, and they might use whatever trick that they can think of to allow you to say, yes, please come into my home. That is essentially giving permission. And he said there are various ways that you can give permission. One is by opening the line of communication. That is giving them permission to talk to you. Therefore, once they have the permission, then they begin to gain power. So again, I guess with what all, 5 of us do, we are essentially at any given moment giving permission to hang out with us. And do you agree with that? Is that something you would agree is that we do by just, messing around in this world, just looking for answers of what we don't understand?
Well, I don't know if it's really giving them permission. I don't give them permission to touch me or assault me or harass me. I guess it just depends on someone's point of view. I know the church and other different religious beliefs, they all believe in something different when it deals with the demonic. Now, this particular case, usually most demonic cases I deal with, demons are like leeches. Like they'll mess with you a little at a time, wearing you down, wearing your defenses down until you're just so out of it where now it gets you.
Yeah, you can't object.
Yeah, and this particular person that we did the exorcism on is very strong in faith, and an ordained minister herself. So it was kind of surprising that something would go after her, but she had a lot of personal problems going on and dwelling on stuff. And it boils down to like dealing with positive and negative energies. What are you dwelling on? Are you dwelling on the light, or are you dwelling on the darkness? And everybody has bad things that happen to them. Don't dwell on the bad thing. If you're having a bad day, but you're making it a bad day. Choose to make it a good day. I don't believe in luck. Like, oh, I got bad luck today. No, there's no such thing as luck. If you have bad luck, you're making it bad luck, turning into good luck. You control that energy. So, like, even with dealing with negative things in your life, if you feel like, man, I'm having a bad day today, start focusing on something positive. Well, yeah, I'm having a bad day and these bad things are happening, but you know what? God is blessing me. I got a wonderful life, a wonderful family. If you got kids, wonderful kids. You know what? And again, it boils down to get behind me, Satan. I don't have time for that crap. Leave me alone. And yeah, bad things happen in life, and it may be horrific, but you try to focus on the positive.
So what you're saying is like attracts like, and you're basically manifesting your own reality.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have ever been on paranormal cases where people think they got ghosts in their own house, and their house isn't haunted. They're the ones manifesting it, and they're manifesting it with their own energy. It kind of fits the same scenario.
We recently encountered one of those where we did not actually seem to get consistent results, but the people were getting consistent results. Just the people.
Yeah.
So we kind of came to the conclusion that if it was the house, that it was potentially an opening, that they had somehow or another created an opening with their energies, not the house itself. So, and so that actually makes a lot of sense, because we have encountered people that we have, one that I did over, I don't know, 2 years ago or something like that, went in. And I always ask everybody to just leave the house, and I'm like, look, you're just going to trust me. I'm not going to take nothing. Just give me 45 minutes in your house by myself. And you walk around, and you guys know, because you investigate, whenever a room feels different, whenever things feel heavy, when it feels light, you can feel if there's something in there with you or if there's not. And I tell you, I walked around, I'm like, I don't know what anybody's afraid of in this house. Now, could they have been hiding from me? They could have been. But the second that one particular person came into the room, and I'll just change I'll change it up. The sun came in, the house changed.
Yeah. And usually with those cases, you go back on and listen to your recorders, and you don't get no EVPs, and you're like, okay, this stuff is manifesting, so that gives you another clue that probably them that's doing it.
So I have a question for both of y'all. You can both chime in on this, because we recently just experienced something ourselves in an investigation that was absolutely mind blowing, and it was at the last Gray County Historical Museum investigation that we did, where we had something that we have not been back to a particular location in a year now, and we haven't had any communication with this thing that we had to believe had attached itself in some form or fashion, not like a full attachment, to us or our group or one of us, that was kind of bouncing between all of us until Saturday night on the whatever it was, the 6th of August. And all of a sudden our guests started saying things in the middle of an Estes method that had everything to do with that thing.
There's no
and
way
that
they
location.
could have known it.
They shouldn't have known what the hell it was, but they were popping off things that were making sense to us, directly located to that location. So we were asking the question, with these more aggressive ones and or demonic ones, we do believe that the location that it came from is way darker. Are they able to just locate you at random? Or is it something that a part of them's always with you, and they're just, they lie in the dark and wait to make themselves known? Kind of.
The theory of once they know you on the other side, do they always know you and can find you?
Well, when you're dealing with the demonic, they can find you almost anywhere. I mean, they
question answered.
Yeah. Again, you're dealing with different forces when you're dealing with the demonic. I've been on cases where I ran into the same demon, and they called us out by name. We went on one case where it called out Reverend Harlan Bell's name, and it was mad because he was there. They get to know who you are. They know that you're a spiritual warrior or a light worker or a minister. They start knowing, and they'll start calling you out by name. we run into several. Gosh, trying to think. There's at least one I've ran into at least 5 times. Same.
Wow.
And not only that too. Not only will they know you, but they know everything about you. They will start pulling up your deepest, darkest secrets and using that against you. I've had at an investigation had stuff used against me that just sent me like to in spiral, spiral mode. Just caught me way off guard, and I was just like, I gotta get out of here. First investigation out of doing investigations I've ever had to walk out of because of that. It just
Wow.
Well, we had one, just kind of give you a little bit of an instance of what happened. We, at the location that we had gone to here in Texas, I got a bite mark on my knee. I got bit. And at the Gregg County Historical Museum on August 6th, when we were there with the group, which was almost it was over a year. It was about a year and 2-3 months after that bite mark. One of our guests during the Estes method that I was leading very sarcastically goes, "Didn't you get bit?" After other clues were given of the location they're talking
let's
about.
frame this out just a little bit more since we're kind of telling the story. We put one guest upstairs in the common room with Blake leading them. We took another guest down to the basement and basically had them above and below each other in a direct line. And Ryan and I were down in the basement leading this other guest. And Ryan had a phone so that he could hear what was being said upstairs to see if any questions we were asking was being answered. Pretty much right off the bat, we get the number 23, which is significant to us because the first time we were ever around someone who literally was physically taken over by something, some entity, was on the 23rd day at the 23rd hour at the 23rd minute. And so the number 23 has significance for us. She says 23 in this Estes method. She can't hear. There's no way she knows that that's a significant thing for us. Then she comes up with what we call the 3 alone. This was something that happened to us where the spirit box kept demanding 3 alone. The 3 alone that they were asking for, I was present, Ryan was present, and then another investigator. And we get asked for 3 alone a lot. Well, now it's 3 alone again. So then they begin to get things upstairs. What was the next one? Because I believe the next one came from your person upstairs that was significant.
Yep, it was 3 alone down the basement. Then right above, back to my guy, was "I will kill you," is what he said.
And then the person downstairs cocks their head in the Estes method. They can't see where I'm at, can't hear me, and goes, "You scared yet, bitch?" I'm like going, "No." I'm scared of you.
And then that's when it jumped right back upstairs to me, where he sarcastically he just went, "Didn't you get bit?" And that's when I just started saying, "Pull them out, get them out right now," because what they're talking to, they don't need to be talking to. That's our thing. That's our entity, whatever you want to call it.
And the thing is that the person that relayed this to Blake in the Estes method, this is a very calm gentleman. He is not loud or aggressive. Mm-hmm. He's a very calm, nice guy. And he says it in a manner that Blake was like, "Whoa."
It chilled me.
That is not you talking.
Yeah, it instantly chilled me. So that's where that question comes from, is the ability to find you whenever, wherever, even at other locations.
And what amazes me, there's a lot of ghost hunters out there that they want to jump into demonology. They want to go head on with a demon. And I'm like,
no, I don't want to. I only like to play with Casper the Friendly Ghost. I don't want those other ones.
It's a calling to help people.
Yes.
A calling from God to deal with these situations. People just out looking for it, trying to make themselves famous or whatever. It's dangerous. Yeah. And again, it's not like dealing with ghosts. You're dealing with ancient evils that can physically hurt you and harm you. And especially if you're strong in faith. Like for me, I have to be careful with doing the demonology, because if the demon can't come after me, it may go after my family members, my wife, and my friends, my investigators. And again, it boils down to seek and destroy. I've seen demonic entities, if it's faith-based paranormal groups, they purposely try to separate these groups by putting doubt and fear and lies and corruption.
Contentiousness.
Oh, yeah, because they don't want you joining together. Because, when one or more are joined together, you basically have your church. So they had issues with that, you know, and we've been on a demonic case before where I've lost team members, and it's usually over petty stuff.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, you have to let them go just because they're so saturated with whatever's attached to them, and they're refusing help. You got to let them go. You just
Yeah.
you just can't deal with it. You know, some people can handle it, some people can't, and to keep a team running, you got to do
Safety's
something.
first. Yeah.
Safety first, yeah. But again, that's why you have to be careful. Like I said, if it can come after me, it'll go after people I care about, and hopefully their faith is where it needs to be.
So you're saying that you really shouldn't be playing at being a demonologist. You either should be one or not be one.
Right.
But this isn't something to play in. And trust me, I don't think it is either. Because like I said,
No.
I like to hang out with Casper.
Me
And
too.
and whenever things get, I mean, we've had people ask us about stuff, and we will tell them if it's something that is out of our scope of knowledge, we don't even try. We'll be like, look, you need to go here. We
Yeah.
can do what we know how to do, and after that, we're going to refer you to somebody else.
And it's going to be a rougher time for us as investigators because our society today, especially in America, that people are backing away from spiritualism, religion. You constantly see religious beliefs getting attacked, either by another religious belief or people that have no beliefs whatsoever. People are trying to get away from spiritualism, I guess. And
I think they're trying to get away from church space because a lot of that's been weaponized. And I think that I think a lot of people are spiritual, but just don't do the church thing
Just don't.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people, I don't know, you know, not to get into politics, but
No, let's not. We don't do politics.
yeah, people are not focused where they need to be, and they're focused on
Absolutely.
something else.
That's a good way to put it.
And yeah,
Absolutely.
and I think it goes back to actually people saying they're one thing and they're not.
Mhm.
So we're starting to see more negative stuff now, and I think it's just because of just the world
Right.
how it is now. It's just people are just not strong in their faith anymore, and again, most demonic cases you go on, the family or the person you're dealing with is scared to death. They're absolutely scared to death, and it's hard to convince people that you have authority over whatever is in your home. It's your home. Tell it to get out. They may put up a fight, and he's going to do crazy things like banging on the walls or throwing stuff to get you scared. But and people always ask me, "Aren't you scared? Aren't you scared going in?" No.
Well, a little bit of you has to be because that's the thinking side of you, right? You got to be a little scared because you
I
never know
don't
what
be
you're going to go
scared.
up against.
If I have any fear at all, I won't even go on the
Okay.
case because
Okay.
it's not going to do me any good.
Mhm.
And it's same way with my other minister on the team. If he's having a bad day or it's just not where he needs to be for the day, he'll reschedule the consultation or the exorcism or whatever because he's not where he needs to be.
So your
They
intentions
do it
walking in,
Huh?
your intentions walking in are every bit as
Oh yeah,
important as what you do when you're there.
oh yeah. Because when I'm walking in, I already know I won the battle, which we have. We already won. We already won the battle. We already won the victory. Sorry, I'm not trying to preach.
No, it's
But
okay.
You're fine. You're fine.
what you're taught. That's what you're taught in most religious beliefs is that you already won the victory. Go in and do what you need to do. And it may be a fight, but either way, it's going to go one way or another. And it may take some time, but it's all faith. And again, when you're dealing with a home investigation, a lot deals with your client, whatever their faith is too. Because if they're weak in faith, it's going to take a whole lot longer to get rid of whatever's in the house.
So I know you said that something you said like ancient evil in many different traditions. Have you ever come across anything that was maybe outside of the scope? Because I know, like, being in the Western world, we know more about like the Christianity sort of side of things. Have you ever come across anything that is not necessarily based in that?
Yes, we had a case in Norman, Oklahoma, where the family had a demonic entity that was scaring the kids, and they were smelling rot in the home, brimstone type smells in the home. They were getting attacked, and of course, it based he had a Ouija board that he always constantly
Mhm.
used. So that's
People,
why
get those out of your
Right, yeah.
house. Do it now.
So he lived in a townhouse that he rented, and we did the investigation. Literally, we walked in. That's all we smelled was like sulfur and brimstone, and the house was clean. Ain't went like they were junky people. The house
Mhm.
was clean, and when we did our investigation there, we ended up getting a response over the obelisk. It said sacrifice to the demon or something like that, and then we have to try to order it and use religious provocation to try to get the thing to give us its name. Once it gives us its name, we can have more control over it. And we asked the entity its name, and it said he was a Baku. And if you look up Baku,
Is
Oh,
that Japanese?
it's like a Japanese dream-eating demon, and it all started
Yep.
making sense that the child was seeing this entity coming out of his closet, the old boogeyman type story,
Mhm.
But
What is it with closets?
but it was, and we had a lot of energy coming out of the closet. And the child, we kept asking the child, well, what's it look like? And he said it kind of looked like an elephant with wings. And we're like, an elephant with wings. And we started doing research. And when you look up Baku, it looks like it has an elephant nose and this weird looking body. But with that particular religious belief, they believed they could summon this entity to eat bad dreams. And then it would go away. Well, the problem is when you summon something,
Uh-huh.
so if you summon this Baku in your house and you go to sleep and you don't have bad dreams for it to feed on, it's going to feed off something. So it's going to feed off your fear, or it's going to attack somebody until it's satisfied. And again, it boils down to summoning. And I guess you guys have always heard that, people getting onto you like, oh, you shouldn't ghost hunt. You guys shouldn't summon. Well,
Yeah.
we're not summoning anything.
Yeah,
When
I
we
don't
walk
summon nothing.
haunted, the spirit's already there. We didn't ask it to come there.
Yeah.
Summoning,
Right.
like being in my house that's not haunting and asking something to come here, that's summoning. And most religious belief, that's a bad thing. You don't want to summon.
Well, that's the first rule we have on our investigations when we're doling out our rules. It's, look, there's absolutely no use of any summoning tools, which include but not limited to Ouija board, spirit dice. None of that stuff's allowed on our investigations. We just don't mess with that stuff.
Yeah.
Again, it's outside of our scope.
Yeah.
And
I know people that use Ouija boards, but they use it more as a communication device, like an Ovilus or something. But they're using it in a location that's already haunted. Now, for me, I still don't like using it just because you don't know where this board came from. We had one client that had a Ouija board, like he just bought the Ouija board, that had something come into his home. And we scanned his Ouija board that was brand new, and in the black light, it had spells written on it. And we're like, he bought this from a store. And
What the heck?
you don't know what you're getting. So
this wasn't just a out of the box from Walmart Ouija board. He bought this at some kind of shop, and they had some kind of. Oh my goodness!
Holy hell!
Nope.
If I ever didn't want one before, I really don't want one now.
And they make different versions. They make oracle boards. It's all the same thing. It boils down to summoning. You don't want to summon anything to you because you don't know what you're summoning. You think you're summoning grandma, and you're going to get something worse. You don't know if you're talking to grandma or not.
So, on the lines of investigations, kind of flip the script just a little bit. Y'all had told us about Broken Bow investigation when we were at Paracon. Just a little bit though. It told us about Broken Bow. You didn't go into the whole. I mean, we were all at Paracon. We didn't have enough time to go into the whole thing. But so tell us the overall experience that y'all had at Broken Bow.
And continue to have, apparently.
Yeah, and continue to have.
So I admit I touched on this at Paracon. Shelly wasn't in there when we spoke, but
I had to man the table.
I describe Broken Bow Asylum as that toxic relationship that you just can't get away from. It keeps drawing you in. Like you know it's bad, but it's like every time we get asked to go, okay, like we go. When we first went for the first time, we didn't know what to expect. We didn't think there was anything negative or bad in there. It's called Broken Bow Asylum. It was never an asylum, technically. They used it as a Halloween attraction in October. So that's why the asylum comes from.
What was it exactly?
So it was a nursing home.
Okay.
Started off as a nursing home. And then there's another wing that was converted to like a halfway home for troubled teens. It was also a trauma center. So there's props for Halloween stuff in there, but there's also computers and like printers and fax machines and all that kind of stuff that you would see in a hospital trauma center. That all got left because they got so scared and spooked out that they left all that stuff. At one point in time, a pastor had went in and he was going to make it a church, and had stuff getting thrown at him. He said, "The hell with this," and built the church on the corner. Left all of his everything in the building.
Wow.
But me and Kale have been several times to Broken Bow. We've had members on the team that were like, "We didn't get to go with you guys. Can we go?" Sure, we'll book it again. And then once we go, we're like, we're not going back anymore. But if we get asked to go, it's like it just draws us back. It's a good location, but it's you
So
got to be
tell
on
us your
your
experience there.
We get a lot of residual stuff there. Like we've gotten over the spirit box. It sounded like a patient, like a grandma who was like had one of the orderlies trying to force feed her, and it just kept saying the same thing over and over again. We started realizing it was residual because we kept trying to talk to grandma, and she wasn't responding back. And then it's like, okay, it sounds like a recorder now. It just keeps repeating itself, so it's residual. There is one spirit there who likes to mimic people. I have to be careful what I say because it'll make the owner mad if we say the wrong thing.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fine.
But it's a mimic spirit, and he's very intelligent. When Daniel was going back to talking about, it was pulling up stuff from his personal life. That was insane. Like, and it starts off like it's picking on you, and then the next thing you know, it just kind of gets worse and worse and worse. And then when you call him out on it, like, "Oh, we know it's you," and then you can hear him kind of chuckle in the background. And we're not sure what it is, but the owner likes to call it a mimicking type spirit. And you get tons of responses like that where he'll make fun of you and pick on you, or he'll try to pretend that I'm the nurse down the hallway. And then once you're like, "Wait a minute, is this you?" And then you'll hear chuckling over the spirit box or top of, it doesn't like to be called out when you do call it out though. But
Ryan, you've had something pretty similar to that with the are you fucking with us, baby? It's like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's one that likes to
funny.
talk to Ryan, and it likes to keep saying "your mama" to him, like
your
every
mama.
time. And we will
Every
do
time.
Your
this
mama.
randomly. If whatever that is there, Ryan will start to ask it a question. He'll go, "Your mama," and
all the time.
Wow.
that's what.
The first time we went to Broken Bow, like I said, we didn't really know what to expect, and it started doing that. It started picking on other members that were there, and then it started coming towards me because those people had left. So it was kind of like just going down the line. I guess going after who we consider like the weakest link next in line, or whatever. So it started like picking on me, and so we thought it was all fun and playful. We thought it was a ghost, and so we're like responding back to it, and it's doing its thing, and then it wants to get personal. So we're like, what is going on here? At this point, it's like, what is this we're dealing with? Because it started bringing up stuff that it would not have known. Ghosts don't know those things. Demons do.
Right.
So we're like, what in the heck is going on here? It starts bringing up personal stuff with me. It mentioned a specific individual whose name was never mentioned at the location, who has never been to the location. And we were like, how in the hell does it know that?
I have had that happen. Blake has heard very personal information about me come through headphones whenever he was doing an Estes method. So you're saying I got a demon? Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's the location that we're the three of us have been to. I've had I know what you're talking about. I've had very personal things said to me during an Estes method when I'm blindfolded and have headphones on. That's the creepiest part. I had one that it was just like I was sitting there and I was listening. All I heard was your wife, and I was like, I said your wife, and there was a pause there though, and I think I said out loud in the Estes method, I was like, not me, whatever, and it came back through and it goes, your husband. And I said that, and it was just something I called back home and asked Kevin. I was like, are you okay? Like, I just got this in the Estes method. And he's like, I just had lights turning off and stuff. And I was like, okay. I was like, all right. Wow. Like,
Wow.
so yeah, that I know what you mean by the personal stuff.
So it got after you though, Daniel, specifically in that location.
Yes, it came straight at me like, all right, let's fight, pretty much. And I mean, to make it light on the subject, I guess it's every time we go there, I kind of hear it in my head now, like a boxing match, ding ding, round 2, round 3, and so on and so forth. I hear that in my head. It's like, come on.
The fight's starting whenever you walk on the property.
Absolutely.
That at some point it's coming for you.
Absolutely.
So what's crazy is twice now since we've been to that location, it followed us back to the hotel.
Yes.
Mm.
The first time we walk into the room and the alarm clock goes off and it's not plugged in and there's no batteries in it.
Oh.
But it was playing music. We saged that whole. We're like, we're not playing, and we went with another paranormal team out of Lawton, and they were getting weird stuff too, like weird phone calls and just weird stuff like that. Yeah, and then I think that other time we got back to the hotel and we walk into the room and the toilet flushes by itself.
Immediately.
We're like,
Wow.
okay, we're not playing around this time. Go cleanse the.
There's some dookie demons again.
Dookie demons.
So do you think that it was like, because you were talking about how like it starts picking and then it gets more and more serious, do you think that it was picking to try to get your guard down, Daniel? And then
to wear you down?
Absolutely. Because the stuff that it brought up, everybody knows. If you're going to get to me, you bring that up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it went for. It was like, we're not pulling any punches.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, in your face. Came right at me with it.
It was going to sucker punch you right off the bat.
wow.
Oh yeah, it was like a sucker punch, like you said. It's just kind of like everyone's laughing and joking, and then the games are over. The laughing is over now at this point.
Yeah.
So it seemed like an intentional attempt to change the energy from your positive, your happy, your good vibes going out to pulling you down to a negative that they could feed on.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Smart.
Yeah.
You're on it tonight, Shelley.
Yeah, I am. So, gentlemen, I'm going to go back to what you said just a second ago about things follow you to hotel room. Now, after one of our investigation after Paracon, I believe I saw a video that you guys had about something that had followed you guys back to the room. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, followed him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Kale's like, not me, dude. It was Daniel.
That
Y'all
would
want
be
to tell us that story about what we were doing?
Oh yeah, so basically that location is the Flower Bluff Manor. That's like one of our favorite haunts we like to go to. It is a very active location, and we discovered that night it looks like the spirits of haunt at the Flower Bluff haunt other places there in town.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Rusty Nail?
Like the Rusty Nail, who Mr. Ramsey likes his little blonde-headed girl there.
Yeah, apparently
it
Daniel
sure
has
did.
a girlfriend and I have a new boyfriend.
So James Ramsey was the mayor of the town, maybe the sheriff at the time.
Sheriff, yeah.
He pretty much ran Sulphur, Oklahoma, and the Flower Bluff Manor was his personal home. And then, sorry,
I thought a demon was after us again.
He's playing. Don't mess up.
Heard a growl, guys. I heard a growl. What, did anybody else hear that?
We all should have said no and just let Blake think he was alone in it.
We don't hear nothing.
What?
I'm sorry,
Well,
Kale,
yeah.
continue on.
Yeah, so Flower Bluff, you got Mr. Ramses who likes to drink. If you bring up anything about alcohol, bourbon, the bar, he is all up for that. He was a party type of good guy, and he liked his ladies.
Yep.
You know, he likes to flirt with the female investigators that come along, and it doesn't matter who you are. We had one investigator that used to be on our team. We think she actually looked like Sophia. Sophia was his mistress. I guess he had several women, but that was probably one of his favorites was Sophia.
The primary.
Yeah, she was the maid of the home.
She started off as the maid, and then he took a liking to her.
Yeah, he literally built her a house like literally across the street from the manor so she could live in it. And the story goes that in the basement there was a tunnel where he would tell his wife, like, I'm going to go smoke. Well, went in the basement to go through the tunnel to go see his mistress and then come back. And then there's Mrs. Ramses, who was the wife. She haunts there. She's not as active, but when you do make contact with her, if you're cussing, she'll get onto you about cussing. She doesn't like cussing in her house. She likes her house clean.
Mm-hmm.
If you go upstairs on the second level towards the bathroom area, you'll get her crying and upset because she knows Mr. Ramses is flirting with other women, and it upsets her. It makes it
No.
Drinking
You
and
can hear her
carousing
crying.
and being a cad.
Yeah, and then behind the manor, we like to call our buddy, who is or Mr. Nasty. He is an entity that was summoned in. We were thinking from the basement before the owners moved in there.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody broke into the basement and obviously did some type of ritual where they use candles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, this entity got into this apartment area behind the manor and was harassing the daughter or somebody that lived in there before.
Yeah.
And he's still there. You guys got to hear him when we tried to do a spirit box session. He started being rude, crude, and socially unacceptable, even though we were trying not to talk to him and really had to just kill it right there because I just didn't want you guys exposed to him because
because I remember y'all had me pull them from the Esses method because it was starting to get a little rough when we were up there.
Yeah, we were trying to ignore him, but he doesn't like to be ignored. Now, the owner of the home has the whole house smudged except for that one room, so he can literally enter into that one room, but he can't go past that doorway into the rest of the house. And I think the only reason why she hasn't did that one room, you saw how many boxes and stuff she had in there. She probably just can't get in there to fully smudge it. So, but yeah, he's very active. I got a video on TikTok and we got a live feed where he came at me. He tried to attack me, and it ended up being the wrong thing for him to do because he ended up knocking him on his butt. And we got it on the Connect cam where you can see the entity sitting on the floor, kind of in the fetal position, and you can tell, like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And right when he attacked me, it blew out a light bulb. So he's pretty powerful.
I remember you had shown me that.
Investigators go there.
Yeah, you had shown me that video at Paracon.
That Connect cam several times. Yeah, we had one investigator in there. We had the Connect cam, and it looked like he was trying to crawl up on her back. And that's what negative entities do. They're trying to feed off your energy. So,
but so when we ended, sorry, go ahead. Let me cut you off.
This particular entity, like I said, he likes to feed off of energy, and we really don't know who he is because we really never got a name out of him. Whatever he is, he says he's ancient and somewhere from the past. And he's smart enough to know not to give us a name. So, but I think it kind of goes under that truce agreement, though, that he doesn't get too harassful towards people because he knows that if he crosses the line, we're just going to go in there and just clear him out. So.
Well, because it's at the end of that night, though, whenever y'all went back to the hotel, y'all showed up to the second day at Paracon with a video
with
from
something to show.
Hotel room.
We come back to the room.
Yeah, Daniel had been flirting with Sophia a lot.
Oh, yeah.
That's my ghost girlfriend.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
your ghosty girlfriend.
Oh yeah, Sophia loves him to death.
Yeah.
Like she
We
tries
saw.
to get him. Oh yeah, she tries to get him to go into another room or whatever. She's
I
like
believe she
madly in
said,
love
"Come
with
to
him.
the bedroom through the spirit box," didn't she? Didn't she
Yeah,
say, "Come
yeah.
to the bedroom"?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Daniel, you got Ghost Girl game. Hey.
Right. I'll take it.
Yeah, I
But,
got
you
a
know-
lot of cred with the dead, but not much with the living. So
That's it.
Red with the dead.
I
Jesus.
do.
Oh Lord. Anyways, so the video that we've been trying to
I'm
talk
sorry.
about. Tell us
I'm
what
having
happened
fun.
when you went back to the hotel room.
So basically, when we get back to the hotel, everything's pretty normal. You know, we're getting ready to crash for the night, and Daniel gets in his bed, I get in my bed, and we're about sleeping, and then we hear something, and the drawer, there's like a nightstand that's between both beds in the hotel room, and it just starts pulling out. I'm like, okay, and we just close it back. We're not thinking much about it, and then it does it again. We close it back, and then the drawers on the opposite side of the room, they start opening up, and we're like, are you kidding me?
And they're not easy to open either.
No, they were very hard to open, and we finally got things to quiet down, and then we're trying to get ready for Paracon that morning and getting ready, and she starts all over again. She starts with the dresser drawer, and we're like, this has got to be Sophia. And that's when we started pulling out the camera and trying to get her to open the other drawer. And sure enough, she does. And right after I killed the video, Daniel, he's getting ready to go into the shower. And right when he walks into the bathroom, I was like, okay, Sophia, Daniel's going in the shower. Are you going to go with him? I'm not kidding you. The dresser drawer goes, opens right back up.
You can't make that shit up. Like, seriously.
It was crazy. And I never knew that they could travel across town like that. But I'm just assuming since he owned most of the town and probably took Sophia with her, they're just attached to each location. I mean, when we went to the Rusty Nail,
Yeah.
we weren't expecting to run into him there. We were talking to other spirits, and all of a sudden he just shows up and say, hey, what's going on? You know, let's go drinking. So,
Yeah,
But
he called me back
Yeah.
in the room after I left.
yeah.
Yep.
He saw a gathering of a lot of people and was like, all right, party time.
It's a
What's up,
party.
y'all?"
That's right.
So-
So again, yeah, I thought that was fascinating. And we were in the same hotel you guys were. We did not have such activity. Perhaps it was the fireball. But but no, but yeah, and were y'all on second floor or first floor?
Second.
Floor.
See,
Us too.
you were right down the hall from us. That's what I thought. Yeah, but I'm very glad that Sophia decided to go to y'all's room with you and not to our room. So I'm going to ask you I have a question about this, and this is about exorcisms and spirits, and and I've been trying to think of the right way to phrase this. Is someone that is living, like a living person, can they send their spirit to torment someone, thus causing that person that is being tormented to have to be exorcised?
Like your personal spirit to somebody? Is that what you're meaning?
Yeah, if like say, it's almost like anger projection,
Like an astral
that
projection?
Anger, like you
Okay.
have so much negative that you're sending it out. Can you,
Wow.
as a living, conscious human being, can you send your spirit to torment someone while you're alive, causing them to potentially need to be exorcised?
I've heard of people getting dream visitations from other.
That's what I'm
people.
talking about. Like showing up in your dream and doing horrible things in your dreams and things like that.
I never heard of horrible things. I've heard of people like dreaming other people, but it's always been good things, like they're hanging out with them, or it's like a friendship type thing, but never like evil intent. Now, usually most cases like that, it's usually because somebody's dabbling in something they're not. They're doing like negative witchcraft. Not saying witchcraft is negative. I'm just saying they're
There's light and dark magic of all kinds.
Exactly. Right? I try to be careful what I say because I don't want to offend people, because
Right.
I'm very supportive of everybody's religious belief. I don't
We
want
are
people,
too. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm very, because in the paranormal, you got to be open to all religious belief. believe religion is just your way of trying to explain the supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
But I've known people that use spells and incantations to send stuff to people, like curses and stuff like that. Even though I don't believe in curses either, but the negative energy behind it, it's real, or the negative entity that's doing that for them is real. So usually, most cases, if someone's getting attacked, and if they're seeing the manifestation of like a person they know, it's probably because that person that they're seeing is probably sending whatever negative entity to them to harass them. Now, these negative demons, they can manifest into anything. They can look like little kids. They can look like angels. They can look like anything. They're like shapeshifters. That you have to be careful what you do. Like, especially ghost hunter teams, when they go into a location, they're thinking they see little kids. Well, make sure it's a little kid spirit that you're actually dealing with, and not nothing demonic, because they will cut off like they're innocent. We had a case of Muskogee. We got invited by another paranormal team, and this person thought they were seeing a little kid, and it turned out to be a demonic entity. And that case there, it was we ended up finding out they tried to make a deal with the demon.
No.
Yeah, to have money, to have a nice house, and which they got all that stuff. But the problem is you have to pay the piper back. So you don't
always a price.
Yeah, there's always a price, and that's what was happening with this family. They made a deal. They used a religious ceremony to make the deal. They thought they were talking to a separate entity, which they weren't. They were talking with a demonic entity. And I have to warn my clients, like, okay, this thing's demonic. It's going to tell your deepest, darkest secrets, and it can tell our deepest, darkest secrets as exorcists too. It doesn't bother me if it does, because I've been forgiven of all my past sins. We all sin. We all ask for forgiveness for it. But the demonic entities, they try to use that to embarrass you or put doubt out there.
Or stop you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. On this particular case, it said something like the family has meth in the closet. And the guy's eye went, I'm like, there are drugs in the house? And he's like, like,
shit.
Okay. These things throw this stuff out there. These are definitely stuff you don't want to play around.
But you don't believe that a living person can send their spirit in their sleep or whatever to torment another living person?
Just my personal belief. Now, my beliefs change constantly. Now, if I do more research on it, it may change. Right now, I don't believe that. I believe that if somebody's being harassed by something, it's probably by something negative. And if I'm dreaming and I'm getting attacked in my dream by a certain person, it's probably because that certain person is dwelling on something negative and it's coming back on me. It doesn't mean it's their actual spirit coming after me.
Yeah.
It's just showing you the reflection of this is the person that's projecting this energy to you. So
I would have to say I agree to that as well.
Yeah.
I think it's more or less the negativity that they're sending out is manifesting itself in your dreams as that person.
Yeah.
Or if they're sending some type of spirit to harass you, it's going to be something that they are conjuring, summoning, doing spell work, magic work, whatever, to send your direction. Like you're saying earlier, like a curse, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
With curses, what's amazing is some people don't break the curse. Curses work. You're just sending negative energy. Like, I put a curse on Daniel. He gets affected. That's what he does. He'll send a curse back to me. And that's how it works with people. And we try to explain to people, like, curses only work if you allow it to work. So if you believe somebody's trying to curse you, if you got your spiritual armor on, what I call your faith armor or your shielding, whatever, that shouldn't affect you at all. But here's the deal. You have to forgive the person that put the curse on you, because if not, it's going to go back to them and they're going to send it back to you if you don't forget that person. So if I send Daniel negative energy and he repels it and he's like, you know what? I know Kale's doing this. I forgive him. Ask God to forgive him. and he does his prayers and stuff like that, the energy will come back to me, but it's probably going to come back to me tenfold, and it's probably going to be worse on my end. I'm going to try to send it back. It's going to bounce back to me again, and you have to break that cycle. And it's just energy transfer. It's just negative energy transference. And I have a hard time convincing people that, because they think they're cursed. Like, curses don't work unless you believe in it. And even if somebody is sending you negative energy, you have to forgive that person. Forgiveness is a big deal, and it's hard for people to forgive. You just have to. I have people wrong me all the time, and I just forgive them. I may not talk to them for a while, but I'll forgive them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the word is forgive them. Don't be their best friend. You don't have to put yourself in a situation.
You don't have to hang out with them.
Encounter that. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
You can forgive, but not forget.
Yeah, and you never know. Later on down the line, you may get back together with this person, and everything will be cool again.
Sure. So this question is for both of y'all. Before, was there a point in your life that you did not believe, and then something made you believe in the paranormal? And if so, what was the incident that made you believe that something else was going on?
I know for me personally, I grew up in a religious home. My parents were very religious based, even though they didn't really go to church a lot. But I always had a strong spiritual pulling. I always felt like it was a calling for me to do something spiritual, and I started going to church a lot, learning more about scripture. I actually went to a Native American church, Cherokee Home Mission, in Park Hill, Oklahoma, and I learned a lot off of my minister, Vern Pickard, and Billy Dallas, who was the assistant pastor at the time. And I learned so much then. I just had a hunger for it. Like, I would be in youth class and I'd be like, I'm not getting what I need here, and actually requested to go to the adult classes because I wanted to learn more. And I even, went to Mid-America Bible College trying to learn more about spirituality. And during that time period, Reverend Tom Cooper taught me a lot. He, at one time, was a warlock, but on the negative side, and he changed his faith over. He asked God for forgiveness and followed the path of righteousness. And he taught me to pay attention to, demonic forces and stuff like that. So I always kind of had a calling to it, and I always sensed things and saw things anyway when I was young. So it was always kind of a calling for me.
How about you, Daniel?
I guess for me, the best way I could answer this is as long as I can remember going back to being a kid, I've also always had the interest in the paranormal. I just always had it in my mind, there's got to be something else to it. I like spooky stuff as it is. I love Halloween, but there was just something about it. I was just like, ghosts are real. I never second guessed it, I grew up religious as well, grew up in church and stuff. So I knew heaven and hell, all those things. When I was in high school, the house we lived in had some weird stuff happen that I couldn't explain. So right around that time, though, coincidentally, is when ghost hunting, the shows like Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, Most Haunted, all that stuff really became mainstream out there on TV and stuff. So, I watched that stuff religiously. And I was just like, man, that'd be so cool to do that. I didn't think I would ever actually do it, but here I am. And then, so living in that house in high school, that kind of made me sparked my interest, piqued my interest even more. Lived in a house 5 years ago that had some stuff going on, which is how I met Kale and going on PIO.
I also met you during the time you were living in that house.
Yes.
I heard some of your stories. Some of his stories, guys, are crazy.
Yeah, that house, we ended up having 2 car accidents with the entity that was there.
Wow.
2 exorcisms. 2 exorcisms of that house, one on me and then one on another individual.
Wow.
So, but with me, the best way I can answer that question is I've always just had the interest, and I have seen and experienced stuff in places and houses, and I'm just here living the dream now, actually doing this. So
it's the way we feel too, living the dream, getting to talk to
Absolutely.
really cool people like you guys, and getting to kind of do what we love and try to find answers to the unknown. Gentlemen, final thoughts on this episode. So what are we saying? When we going on an exorcism? Oh, they won't let me come. I forgot.
No way, I ain't going. I'm
No,
sorry,
yeah,
I ain't
y'all
going.
have fun.
I will meet y'all.
How
Whatever
about an
haunted
investigation, guys?
I was saying,
Definitely.
whatever haunted location y'all want to meet up at. Yeah, I'm down for big. Y'all,
I'm 100%.
I'm gonna leave
down.
the exorcism to y'all.
I was just saying, we were talking about y'all after Paracon, and we were just like, man, Daniel and Kale. I mean, we knew y'all were cool, but we were like, man, they're really cool guys. We'd love to hang out with them more. So,
Yeah, we got a lot of places that we could bring you guys. So
awesome.
And that street goes both ways. We'll get you out to
Absolutely.
to Longview sometime with us here pretty soon, and see what you guys think about that location. Well, Blake, would you like to tell them where else they can find us, or what else they need to do?
Absolutely. Whatever social media channel you're watching us on tonight, we're not just on that social media channel. We're across the board. So make sure you go follow us everywhere that you can, because we don't use all the same social media channels for all the things. We do different things on different ones. So make sure you follow us across the board. And yeah, I don't really have any other announcement past that because Old Park is sold out.
Sold out.
So
I tell you what else you can do if you want to hang out with us a little bit more and see what we really talk about. You can become a Patreon member. It's $5 a month. There's no tiers, no levels. $5 a month, you get everything. And if you want to know how to properly shoot a bird, go ahead and or the bird, not a bird, the bird. Go and watch tonight's pre-broadcast.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah. So go on anywhere you get your podcast. Rate and review us, leave a review, please, and then tell 2 friends and have those friends tell 2 friends, because the more we grow and the more we get out there, the better stuff we can bring you guys. And if you have any questions about anything, or if you ever want to leave just a comment for someone, Blake, where can they send an email to?
That is to theevppod@gmail.com, theevppod@gmail.com.
Like and subscribe.
Absolutely.
So, you guys, a special thanks to our guest, Daniel Fogle and Kale Epperson. Thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. Anything you guys want to promote real quickly? Your website?
They can find us on Facebook. Just search Paranormal Investigations of Oklahoma. We do most of our stuff off of Facebook or live feeds from our investigations. I got a TikTok page. You come and watch me be silly and crazy and post.
They're good.
They're good. So, for my friends, Mr. Blake Smith and Mr. Ryan Roberts, thank you to our special guests, Daniel Fogle and Kale Epperson. Once again, I'm Shelley Pruitt. Thank you for watching Everything